It's heavy. It's heavy. It's heavy. That is the one, boys and girls. Let's do it. Yeah, there's no sunny hot Australia today. No, I've seen 40 amps outside today. Maximum 40 amps. But honestly, we needed the rain. And it's supposed to be raining tomorrow again. So that's great. Good evening, my friends. And welcome back to the Off-Grid Garage here. It is a late night show in rainy, cold Australia. Absolutely perfect conditions to make this video tonight because, as you have seen in the intro, I want to introduce you to a new tool. I wanted to say tool, but, well, it is also a toy, right? A bit of a toy. But no, it is mainly a tool here for the Off-Grid Garage because this 3D printer will enable us to print brackets, holders, mounts, standoffs, adapters, everything we want, everything we need. And people told me for a while, Andy, you need to get a 3D printer. And I always said, you know, not really. I wouldn't use it much. And I can make my own brackets out of metal or plastic. Yeah, and I think this is a tool like an hydraulic crimper or a multimeter or a battery tester. It's nothing else. It's a tool. Well, when we built this battery shelf here 1.5 years ago, this 3D printer would have run non-stop. It actually would have saved me a lot of time making my own brackets and off stands and isolators. But well, I guess we got it done and it is still in a good shape. Yeah, anyways, 1.5 years later and I finally got one. So this is the need to get this right, 2 trees SP-5 3D printer, or Sapphire Pro as it is called as well. And I must admit, right at the beginning of this video here, this is my first 3D printer I got. And I really tried to do some research before I ordered this printer here, but as a beginner it is very, very hard. You're ending up in forums and different people tell you different things. And this Sapphire Pro printer here is a CoreXY printer. It is called a CoreXY because the printhead, that is this little guy here. The printhead does the X and Y movement, while the printbed does only the vertical Z movement. And I've seen other printers on the market where the printhead only does the X movement and the bed does the Y and Z movement. And to me it looked like a really wobbly setup because this whole bed goes back and forward very quickly and the whole tower starts shaking. And people have put concrete pavers under the printer then to stabilize it. And I thought this is a bit of a weird construct. So I was really looking for a CoreXY printer. And the other requirement I had was it should be able to print at least 300mm large objects. And this one here can do 300 by 300 and 350 high. So yeah, I just found a box here on my shelf. This is 300 by 300 and now we are 335 high. So I could print a bit larger. This is the maximum volume I can print on this printer. This is huge. I mean, this is huge. Yeah, so these were the only 2 requirements I had for a 3D printer. And this printer is now on special for the upcoming Black Friday sales on Banggood. So if you want to get yourself an early Christmas present and have always thought about getting a printer, this is maybe the time now to get one. There's also a discount code for you guys, so you get the printer even cheaper. All the links are under the video. But before you start ordering, maybe let me explain a bit about this printer and my experience so far. So I have now fully assembled this 3D printer here, and I must say I really liked the overall process of this IKEA style system. Well, it comes in a flat pack with Allen keys. So, you know, it's the same principle. And the printer comes already pre-assembled with the bottom part, which has the controller unit, the power supply, and the touch display already mounted. All the cabling has already been done inside the bottom, and also the top part is already pre-assembled, which makes the whole installation super easy. Opening this box, it greets you with some very well packed and well padded parts. It looks really organized and safely packed. So I unpacked all the parts, screws and accessories on the desk and started assembling this 3D printer. So all this stuff here fit into this box here, but it doesn't fit on my desk. So, and as I said, this is my first 3D printer I've ever seen and I've ever assembled. And I wasn't quite familiar with all the bits and pieces and parts and how they are all called. That is the extruder. There, it says it there. Dual drive extruder. I don't know what that means. So I just followed the instructions in the manual. But of course the printer comes with all the necessary parts. It also comes with the tools, like 5 different size Allen keys and a side cutter to cut the zip ties later on. So I was very impressed. All used materials and parts are feeling really solid. When I assembled this frame here, I could already feel how sturdy this build will be. See all these aluminium profile corner posts here, they are not only screwed in twice from the bottom, but also from the side. So this makes it a really rugged and sturdy construction. See here the top part as well. 2 screws from this side and 2 more from the side. Bombenfest. And here, the top frame is made out of 1 piece of metal, precisely laser cut, and it is also pre-assembled with all the belts, pulleys and stepper motors. See, even the stop switch here, already mounted. Ha! And the electrical wiring, piece of cake. All the cables are prefabricated with connectors and they are all labeled. There's a Y printed on here and there's a Y on the stepper motor where this connector goes in. And this was the same for all the other cables. Everything is labeled. You put 1 to 1, 2 to 2 and 3 to 3. And see, and they've got these cables here running inside the aluminium profile all the way up. And then it comes out here to connect to the stepper motor. And then you put this plastic cover in here. It looks really clean and nice installed. As you know, I really do like clean installations. Well, I must tell you, the back wiring harness here, which connects the print head, this is only in a split loom tube. And I think this is where all these cable ties are for, to connect it to the frame here. This I don't like at all. I'm not using these cable ties for that. This looks a bit flimsy to me, quickly put together and not well designed. They could have used a piece of cable duct here running down this post here, and then all the cables would be nice and tidy inside this cable duct all the way up to this holder. So people from 2 trees, this is an improvement request. You have to come up with a better solution than cable ties. So mounting this frame and all the moving parts was very easy. Pretty straightforward, and the manual made totally sense. So and then after around 1.5 hours, I could turn on the machine for the very first time. That was a super exciting moment. But this excitement didn't last too long, because I had to feed the filament through this extruder here, through the Bowden Teflon tube, all the way into the print head. So through here, then in here. I don't know how this all works here. There's not much in the manual actually. It only says insert the filament through the filament sensor and BGM extruder, and that's all. So, but how far do I push it in? How do I adjust this knob here? Do I need to feed this in all the way through to the print head, or is it okay like this? And this is where the manual was absolutely short of information. And especially as a beginner, I would have thought there will be more information, far more details, because this is exactly where the trouble started. Oh yes, I can see it. It's feeding in. I can feel it here. It's pulling in the filament now. 10 millimeters. 10 millimeters in. Do we have to press this all the way until it comes out down there? So the main problem I had was installing this Teflon tube into the printhead. And the manual says to insert this tube into the printhead by about 5 to 6 centimeters. I mean, who's using centimeters, right? And I could get the Teflon hose only in by about 10 millimeters instead of 50 to 60. Crazy. So I wasn't quite sure if they mean actually 5 to 6 centimeters or 5 to 6 millimeters. So I poked it in as much as I could. I calibrated the print bed. Okay, this is our position 1. And now we have to bring this up by releasing the pressure from the spring. We're getting closer and closer. And we use this piece of paper here. Okay, now it's scratching. That's too much. Yeah, that's just... And then it was time for my first print, the test cubicle. Because the printer also comes with a 4 gig SD card. Well, and this is another point where the manual completely fails. On this SD card there is a zip file which contains all the manuals, videos, documents, and also the test print file. Yeah, this little cubicle. But the printer cannot read the zip file. So you need to put this SD card into a computer first, unzip all the files, put them back on the SD card, put the SD card in the printer, and then you have to navigate to this folder where the print file is, select it, and then it starts finally printing. Nothing about all this in the manual. Well, you have to figure it out yourself or watch the Off-Grid Garage. How else would you know there is something on this SD card already? So, and now even with the wrong installed Teflon tube in this printhead, it printed the test cubicle just perfectly fine. Now this, here it is. It says X, Y, Z. Very nice and high quality print. I was very happy with that. Well, and then, because it was already night, I turned off the machine, and then I wanted to continue the next day with my own print design, which I had already made in Tinkercad. Yeah, this little sign here, stay charged, yeah, printed with this 3D printer. Amazing. So the next morning I turned everything back on, loaded my print file onto the printer, started the printing process, and, well, it was a quite different experience to the night before. Here it starts. Oh. That's not good. That is not good. Second fail. Well, this is now the 4th time that I'm trying to print my design. And the filament seems to come out before it actually starts printing. And then it makes this smear from the middle to the actual start point of the design. This is shit. Look at this shit. Nah, stop. Once again, stuffed up. Makes this test pattern here, then starts printing and destroys the whole print because there's a filament hanging around everywhere. And then it looks like this. And you can see here on the floor, these were all my failed attempts. Nothing was working anymore like the day before. And only because the manual is not detailed enough. So what I did eventually, I disassembled the whole printhead here and had a look what is going on. So the whole printhead here consists of 4 parts basically. It is this cooler block here. Then we've got the heating block, the nozzle, and there's a hidden metal tube inside this whole block. And let me quickly... And when I inserted the Teflon tube into this head here, it got somehow stuck over here. I think there is a little bit of an edge here at one of the sides. So the Teflon hose stopped over here. And then the filament came out over here. And, well, look at this. Then it got stuck. Yeah. This one got somehow stuck over here. Or it curled up like this inside this metal tube. There's another one. So, and what I did is I was taking off the print nozzle here from the heater block, and inside I could see this metal tube. I was able to push the Teflon tube inside this metal tube all the way down to the print head. Yeah, it stops somewhere over here. Part of the installation could be to remove the print nozzle, and then you could see the Teflon hose inside this metal tube. That was the next result. It printed perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. So there was nothing wrong with the printer or with the filament or with the whole design of this thing. It is just a lack in the manual. And I printed half of another of these test cubicles here somewhere. And you have seen in the other video we printed already a bracket for the knee active balancer to mount it into the Global Power battery, and it printed everything perfectly fine. The active balancer snapped into my design bracket, so there was no issue with the printer anymore. Yeah, well, this was my negative experience with the 2 Trees SP-5, the Sapphire Pro 3D printer, which could be easily avoided by changing the manual, extending the manual, and explaining better how to insert this Teflon hose into this metal tube. So people from 2 Trees, we need a second amendment of the manual and making this clear how to install this Teflon hose. And now, as you can imagine, I'm super keen to print more with this tool here. So I hope JK can sort out their BMSs here, and we can design and print many brackets and holders and adapter plates for this BMS, so it fits into the Sapphire battery, into the Global Power battery, into the JK batteries, in all of these other batteries here. You're designing and printing these adapter plates. That's what we need this tool for then. But can JK pull it off and provide the correct software for these BMSs? I'll tell you more about this in one of the next videos. We are close to either give up or have the perfect BMS. Well, but now back to the printer here. I have watched 1 or 2 videos where people have reviewed this printer as well, and they were a bit complaining about not having the optimal parts here, and were suggesting updates, upgrades, modifications. And I must say, as a beginner, I don't see the point. The printer works perfectly fine as it is. From my perspective, there's no need to update or modify anything on the printer at the moment. And I really don't need a super perfect, smooth surface or something. I'm not going to print any art projects here or any... This is a tool in a workshop where we make adapter plates for the JK-BMS mainly. So as a beginner, I'm perfectly fine with the performance and also the print quality of this 3D printer. Nothing to complain about once you insert the Teflon tube correctly. The printer also comes with a USB port here, and I haven't tried this one out here, but I assume the printer will then show up as a normal printer in your Windows system, and you don't need to use an SD card anymore and can print directly to the printer. But I must say, I quite like the independence with this SD card, because this printer now can sit anywhere, here in the garage or inside the house, just connected to power. I insert my SD card with my printing files, and it can print wherever it sits. The menu also shows a Wi-Fi connection, which I could not get to work. It spins around. It cannot see any of my Wi-Fi networks here. So I'm not quite sure if this is a software bug or if there is no Wi-Fi with it. I don't know. But again, I don't really see the point of connecting it to Wi-Fi and use a computer to print. SD card is perfectly fine. And of course, nothing in the manual about Wi-Fi connection or USB connection to a computer or so. So I'm not sure what kind of benefit it would give us. Does anyone know? Well, after printing a couple of objects here, I have only 2 negative things so far. One is the manual, and the other one is this Kabelgewirre here. This really needs to have a better solution. These cables always hang down here. When the printer goes in this direction and all the way to this one, it somehow clamps in these cables here. So I always have to be here and hold these cables up. So I need to come up with some sort of spring mechanism which holds this cable here somehow in position. I have tried to twist them in different positions, but the cable is always falling down and it's not ideal. So this is not the best design, I must say. And maybe we can 3D print a cable mount or cabling holder for this thing. I don't know. Leave it with me. I'll figure something out. So as I said, guys, all the links and also a discount code from Banggood is under the video in the description, as well as on my website. Black Friday is coming up very quickly now. I hope I get this video online until then. So you got the chance to take full advantage of all the discounts and also the discount code and get yourself a 2 Trees SP-5, the Sapphire Pro 3D printer. If you are into 3D printing or looking into this for a while and thinking which one should I get, well, this is probably a good machine to start. Yeah, what else can I tell you? I think the video is long enough. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your amazing support here on the channel. For all these wonderful and exactly beautiful people who have donated to the channel. Thank you very much for your generous donations. Especially Rob from Braunschweig in Germany. He is the guy who sent me all these Oettinger beer coasters a while back. And today in the mail was this one. He sent me an original Herpa Volvo truck carrying my favorite German beer. How good is that? This will go on the wall here as well. Thank you so much for this Oettinger truck here, as well as for your very generous donations recently. I really appreciate your support. And guys, until the next video, when I show you the Australian-made perfect until then, guys, you stay charged, stay safe, and thanks again for watching. See you then. Bye bye. Two Trees SP-5 Sapphire Pro 3D printer. I like it.